Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Jai Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Swami Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Jai Śrīmad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Jai Śrīmad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Premsikaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vamsadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki Shri Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham ki Ganga Maya ki Jamuna Maya ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulasi Maharani ki Shri Shri Gauranitai ki Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Shri Jagannath Baladev Lady Subhadra Devis ki Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki Shri Shri Radha Gopal ki Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki Shri Shri Radha Damodara ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki Grantharaj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Premanam Sankirtan Jagya ki Gaura Premanande. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki. Hare Krishna. You came back, I didn't scare you yesterday, huh? That's a good sign. Not scared? Why should you be scared? Krishna says if you become a devotee, he'll award you fearlessness. If we become devotee, Krishna, surrender to Krishna, then we'll be fearless. No anxiety, no fear. That means Vaikuntha. Krishna is in Vaikuntha. Krishna is with his devotees. Devotees also no fear. Everyone in the material world, so much fear, so much uncertainty, so much anxiety. Everybody is anyway trying to manage, make the best use of the bad bargain. And we're groping in the darkness. We don't know. Prabhupada says conditioned soul, material consciousness. We don't know what to do and what not to do. We're like playing the odds, like guessing game. Krishna knows past, present, and the future. We don't know. We don't know about the past. We don't know about the future. And if we're not conscious, we don't even know what's in the present. That's called deaf, dumb, and blind. So we need a good direction, good guidance, good instruction. Krishna is seed-giving father of every living entity. He knows what is in our best interest. Like any good father, he knows what is in the best interest of the child, father and mother. So Krishna is like the father, he is the father, Vedas like the mother. So when the father and mother, Krishna and Vedas, are trying to help us, we should not put any doubt, any fear, any skepticism, any cynicism, because it's a perfect knowledge from perfect source, and it's for
our betterment, and ultimately for our spiritual perfection. It says, Prabhupada said, the real faith means that just by surrendering to Kṛṣṇa, everything is solved, spiritually and materially. Arjuna, he was not surrendering as position of conditioned soul, then he could not be successful spiritually or materially. He tried everything. Prabhupada said, if Arjuna couldn't do it, what are we going to do? What are we going to figure out on our own? So every living entity is completely dependent on Kṛṣṇa. He wants to help us. He's trying, he's coming here himself, he's sending his devotees, he's giving us Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he's manifesting in holy name, manifesting in the deity form, manifesting in prasadam, Jagannath Prasad, Kṛṣṇa Prasadam. He's trying everything to somehow or other purify our consciousness. Srila Prabhupada, my Gurudev, said, you cannot purify yourself. You cannot bring yourself to pure consciousness on your own. It requires tremendous amount of mercy from Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa's devotees, Vaishnava, Sadhu Guru Vaishnava. Prabhupada said those two things, two mercies required. Mercy from Kṛṣṇa, Chitta Guru, Paramatma, Super Soul, Supreme Lord, and external manifestation of Guru, spiritual master, and also the Shastra. Guru, Shastra, Atma, Rupa, where Kṛṣṇa is giving us intelligence. So we're going to read Bhagavad Gita, one verse tonight, where Kṛṣṇa is directly speaking through Arjuna, to Arjuna, and through Arjuna for the rest of mankind. When you hear from Kṛṣṇa, Prabhupada said it's as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is, means completely pure, nothing added, nothing subtracted. Srila Prabhupada said that Kṛṣṇa is quite capable of expressing himself and saying exactly what he wants to say to us. It doesn't need somebody's interpretation, feeling, emotion, speculation, concoction. That just simply makes it contaminated. Of course, Kṛṣṇa's instruction cannot be contaminated. But because we're prone to mental speculation, Prabhupada says we're addicted to mental speculation and bodily concept of life. We're very sentimental, we're very emotional, materially. So if we hear other speculators concocting, manufacturing, giving their feeling, emotion, it just disturbs it. So Srila Prabhupada said, this Bhagavad Gita, as it is, means directly Kṛṣṇa manifesting and speaking with nothing added, nothing subtracted, and bona fide Guru, Srila Prabhupada, is bona fide Acharya in Kṛṣṇa Parampara disciplic succession. So his purity, his empowerment, his authorization, his translation means that Kṛṣṇa's full mercy, full potency is manifesting there in that translation through the heart, through the mouth, and presentation of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So we're not, Prabhupada said, who cares what is your opinion? Who cares what is my opinion? What is Kṛṣṇa's opinion? So when Kṛṣṇa is speaking, it must be done in a mood of devotion, in a mood of wanting to surrender to Kṛṣṇa, to understand Kṛṣṇa, to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa says, by all the Vedas, I am to be known. He's the compiler of all the Vedanta. Vedanta, end of the Vedas, means to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa directly teaching how to qualify ourselves, how to purify ourselves, how to awaken in our Kṛṣṇa consciousness. When Srila Prabhupada was going to America in his prayers on Jaladuta, he was praying to Kṛṣṇa that I'm going to this strange place, America, especially New York. It's a very strange place, very degraded place. Even now it's getting more degraded, which is unbelievable. Anyway, that's another topic. But Srila Prabhupada, praying to Kṛṣṇa, said these people, they're in complete tamagun, complete ignorance. They're like acting like cats and dogs, uncontrolled mind and senses, intoxicated, dirty, tamagun. Maybe a little rajagun, but mostly tama. Shuddha-tama. Complete tama. So Prabhupada saying, Kṛṣṇa, how will these people who are in tamagun, so sinful people, and they're enjoying, under modes of nature, they're enjoying the sense gratification, sinful life, how will they possibly be able to accept your instruction in Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? Then Srila Prabhupada explaining that you are Yogeshwara, you are the supreme mystic. You put these people into Maya by your will and your power, and you can also get them out of Maya. So Prabhupada said, if you can empower my words and our presentation as it is, through the holy name, then only then will they be able to become purified. Please shut off the phones. We want to hear about Kṛṣṇa, not from Maya. I don't think Kṛṣṇa is calling you on your cell phone. Chances are. So just for a few minutes, we can suspend it and try to hear Kṛṣṇa's instructions. Right? So Srila Prabhupada explained that Kṛṣṇa Katha, talking about Kṛṣṇa, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, this is medicine. This is the medicine, real medicine, unfailing medicine. And Jagannath Prasadam, Kṛṣṇa Prasadam, that's a diet. So these two things, Prabhupada said, hear nicely Harikatha, Kṛṣṇa-nām, that's medicine. Take a nice Jagannath Prasad, Kṛṣṇa Prasadam, and this is expert treatment program, how to purge the mad mind. So everyone in material life, material consciousness, complete contaminated consciousness, Prabhupada said everyone here is actually more or less insane. That means a madness. Don't know what to do, what not to do, cannot manage peacefully. And also Prabhupada said everyone here is more or less a demon. So if we're proud and arrogant and conceited and greedy and lusty and angry and jealous and envious, this is all demoniac quality. So this is reality. Srila Prabhupada went to such a place, complete tamagun, all demoniac qualities and behavior. And what did Srila Prabhupada do? He chanted Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And he said, you want to be happy, but you don't know how to be happy. You're trying to be happy separate from Kṛṣṇa, not surrendering to Kṛṣṇa. And Maya is promising you'll be peaceful and happy, but opposite result you're getting. So much anxiety, so much disturbance, so much suffering is there. So Prabhupada explains that this ignorance of Kṛṣṇa, our relationship with Kṛṣṇa, and our cooperation or inability to cooperate with Kṛṣṇa, this ignorance is the root cause of the suffering condition. So we're coming together to take Prabhupada's treatment program, means to nicely and tentatively. Prabhupada says also with the perfect anxiousness, not to go in here just out of curiosity. Okay, let's see what this guy can say, right? What is he going to say that I don't already know? It's our religion, right? You're not thinking like that, but some people may think like that. What is he going to say that we don't already know? So this little pride is there. So we have to just try to be humble. I'm not giving my opinion. I'm not speculating. I'm not manufacturing and trying to create something of entertainment for you. I'm just simply trying to present Krishna's words, Prabhupada's translation, in the most hopefully sincere way possible. Even though I'm not a big scholar, I don't claim to be, but we have to try to be sincere in our expression, our explanation, and also in our hearing. So if we are sincere in our speaking, in our hearing, then Krishna agrees to come and manifest there. So that's our challenge tonight. Usually the teacher, he gives a homework assignment after the class, right? But we have homework assignment before the class. And that assignment is, we have to be as sincere as possible. And if we're not sincere, let's desire to be sincere. In our speaking and in our hearing, so much so that Krishna will be pleased with our small effort and manifest in our heart and consciousness to get the necessary purification and faith and strength of knowledge how to proceed on this path of bhakti. So with that, we'll read a verse from Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada's translation: as it is, as it was, as it will always be. Because the truth is eternal. It never changes. Prabhupada said, problem with you Westerners, especially, you want to change everything. You think you're very intelligent, very wise, you want to change everything. There's no change required. Eternal knowledge, absolute truth is the same always, past, present, and the future, because it's coming from Krishna. And even in India, I'm surprised sometimes they say, oh, the Vedas, Vedic knowledge, that's old. Right? So everyone wants to celebrate the holiday like Vedic knowledge, but they don't want the Vedic culture, but they're not interested in Vedic knowledge. So it's just another party. Right? Just another party. And it's like this everywhere. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Right? What is it? Purushartha, goals of life. It's only goal. Whenever anyone's successful, they say you have to set your goals. Right? Short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. What are your goals? How do you envision yourself in the future, and what is your plan how to get there? So all goals come down to religiosity, economic development, get the cash, and buy some sense gratification. And when you cook your brain good enough, trying to enjoy, you might look for moksha. Like, get me out of here. And then if you're really special, then parava purushartha means then you'll be interested in bhakti, not just liberation. But Prabhupada says in the Kali Yuga, because of such sinful, degraded age, really all it is Artha and Kama. At least in old Vedic culture, you would go to God and pray, please, I need some money, I need some. Now that part is gone. Just, where's the cash? How do I enjoy? No religiosity, really. No real interest in moksha. What to speak about bhakti, prem bhakti. So just Artha, Kama. So this is what we are up against. So somehow we have to purify our desires. And that's not going to be easy, because it's very deep-rooted from many, many, many long lifetimes. But special mercy from Krishna and Sadhu Guru Vaishnavas, holy name, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, if we listen very seriously, then we can get mercy and we'll feel that necessary purification of this contaminated material consciousness. It's like a fever, Prabhupada says this. Materialism is like a fever, a great fever. So we come and hear and chant related to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is the purest of the pure. So if we associate with the purest of the pure, by His mercy, by their mercy, Sadhu Guru Vaishnava, we can become pure. We can become purified. And this fever of materialism, this uncontrolled mind and senses, material desires, and all of the anxiety that goes with that, and all the inauspiciousness that goes with that, all of that will be less, less, less. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya means constantly you have to take a medicine. Harikata, Krishna Gita. If you have the greatest medicine and you only take it once or twice, what is that? So Prabhupada said your hearing and chanting must be proper and it must be sufficient in order to get that necessary effect of purification and the benefits that we can get by hearing and chanting. So with that in mind, we'll attempt to read a verse tonight. This verse I was reading earlier today and thinking about it and praying about it. So anyway, it's fresh in our heart and mind, so we can discuss it with you, and let's see how it affects you, how it hits you. All right, you understand me? You understand English? This man. You understand? Yeah? I'm asking, do you understand English? She's looking around. So I said, I don't know, maybe he doesn't understand. And the subject matter is a very high topic. So we're not so qualified. We need a lot of mercy to understand it. Not so easy, cheap thing to understand God, right? So this is a Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute. And today is text number 2, 10:2. Did you come to study, to learn? All right. Me too. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Please repeat. Na me viduḥ sura-gaṇāḥ prabhavam na maharṣayaḥ aham ādir devānāṁ maharṣīṇām cha sarvaśaḥ. This is some less quote, please. Name viduḥ sura-gaṇāḥ prabhavam na maharṣayaḥ aham ādiḥ devānāṁ maharṣīṇām sarvaśaḥ. Na, never, me, my, viduḥ, no, sura-gaṇāḥ, the demigods, prabhavam, origin, opulences, na, never, mahā-ṛṣayaḥ, great sages, aham, I am, ādir, the origin. He, certainly, devānāṁ, of the demigods. mahā-ṛṣīṇām, of the great sages. Cha, also. sarvaśaḥ, in all respects. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Kṛṣṇa is speaking to Arjuna, and he explains that neither the hosts of the demigods nor the great sages know my origin or my specific and complete opulences. For in every respect, I am the very source of all of the demigods and all of the great sages. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in Brahma-saṁhitā, you just listen. All right? Listen. Hear more than read. You're reading? No?
In the phone, we were just looking what you were saying.
Huh?
We were looking while you were speaking.
No, just hear. Just hear. It's better. Okay, Kṛṣṇa speaking, if you hear, you'll understand better. If you read it, you'll go to your intellect and try to understand it. Right? First Shravanam. Right? So try it. Kṛṣṇa will give you intelligence to understand it. Srila Prabhupada Purport, he says, as stated in Brahma-saṁhitā, Lord Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Lord. No one is greater than him. He is the cause of all causes. Here, it is also stated by the Lord personally that he is the cause of all of the demigods and the sages. Even the demigods and the great sages cannot understand Kṛṣṇa. They can neither understand his name nor his personality. So what then is the position of the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? None of them can understand why this Supreme God comes to the earth appearing as an ordinary human being and thus executes such wonderful and most uncommon activities and pastimes. One should know then that material scholarship is not at all the qualification necessary to properly understand Kṛṣṇa. Even the demigods and the great sages mentioned here by the Lord himself have tried to understand Kṛṣṇa by the power of their mental speculation. And they have continually failed to do so. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam also it is clearly said that even the great demigods are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. They can speculate to the limits of their imperfect senses, and they can only possibly reach the conclusion of impersonalism, of something which is opposite to what is manifested by the three qualities of the material nature. Or they can imagine something by their mental speculation. But it is not at all possible to understand Kṛṣṇa by such foolish mental speculation. Here, the Lord indirectly says that if anyone really wants to know me in tattva, as the absolute truth, then he says, here I am, present before you as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For I am the Supreme. Kṛṣṇa says there is no truth superior to me. So one should know this, And although one cannot understand the inconceivable Lord on their own, He nonetheless exists anyways. We can actually understand Kṛṣṇa in tattva, in truth, who is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, simply by deeply studying and hearing His own words mentioned here in the Bhagavad Gita and spoken of in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The conception of God as some ruling power or as impersonal Brahman, it can be reached by persons who are in the inferior energy of the Lord. So if we're influenced by Maya, the external inferior energy of the Lord, only conception of God as some ruling power or impersonal Brahman, only that possibly you can understand or reach. But the personality of Godhead cannot be conceived or understood properly unless one is in the transcendental position themselves. Because most men cannot understand Kṛṣṇa in His actual situation, out of His causeless mercy, He descends here to show favor even to such speculators. Yet despite the Supreme Lord's uncommon activities, these speculators, due to the contamination in the material energy, still they think that the impersonal Brahman, that is supreme. Only the pure devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan Shri Kṛṣṇa, that He is supreme. The devotees of the Lord, they do not bother about impersonal Brahman conception, for their faith and their devotion bring them to completely surrender immediately unto the Supreme Lord. And out of the causeless mercy of Kṛṣṇa, then they can understand Kṛṣṇa. No one else can understand Him. So even the great sages agree. What is Atma? This was your question, right? What is Atma? And what is the Supreme? It is He whom we have to worship. Again, translation. Neither the hosts of the demigods nor the great sages know my origin or my specific and complete opulences, for in every respect I am the very source of all of the demigods and all of the great sages. So we are, Prabhupada said, we're in Tamagun, Kalaus, what is it? Kalaus Shudra Sambhava. That everyone in Kali Yuga is born as Shudra or less. Shudras in devānāṁ system. So if we were not in devānāṁ system, that means we're less. Do you agree?
Yes.
So that means, Prabhupada says, we are condemned by the material energy. And tamagun means suffering in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So Prabhupada said, if you come to some type of human consciousness, then you'll understand and ask the question, why am I suffering? Why do I have to suffer? Why so much anxiety? Why so much disturbance? How is it like this? Why is it like this? And not only that, but how do you get out of that kind of trouble? How do you get out of that type of experience Prabhupada says that the anxiety, that is the material disease. Everyone is struggling with the mind and senses, uncontrolled mind and senses. Krishna said your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So material life, material consciousness, mind is acting as worst enemy and always putting us into trouble. So all the yoga practice, everyone's trying to deal with what do you do with this mind, which is always so disturbed. They go to psychiatrists, psychologists, this medicine, antidepressant, anxiety, right? Billions and billions of dollars in all of this way, how to deal with this mind, which is causing so much anxiety, so much disturbance, and the minds of other people in our life who are also sick and disturbed and frustrated and dumping that on us. That's also greatly disturbing. And then you can throw in the pandemics and the tsunamis and the cyclones and the hurricanes and tornadoes, famine and war. That means prison house. So material world, Krishna said, Dukkhalayam Ashasvatam. I made this place to be very temporary and miserable. So in our ignorance, not understanding Krishna and Krishna's purpose, we're thinking, no, I'm going to make it permanent and blissful. So we're already competing with Krishna. He's saying, I'm going to make it temporary and miserable. And we're saying, no, we're going to make it permanent and blissful. So who do you think's going to win? Probably Krishna, right? He's winning, whether we realize it or not. So we're trying. I want a permanent situation, everything predictable, everything steady, everything peaceful, everything happy. We're trying, like anything. My Gurudev, Srila Govinda Swami, he used to laugh. If Krishna wants this place to be a blissful, happy place, he would have made it like that. That's not this place. You want blissful, happy place with nice people to associate with, you have to go to Vaikuntha. Right? No fear, no anxiety, everyone perfect gentleman, perfect lady. We're in the prison house. This is the most corrupted, sinful place. There's no gentleman, there's no lady now. In the prison house, can you expect to find perfect gentleman and lady there? So we're like, oh, I'm so shocked. These people are thinking like that and behaving like that and speaking like that. Why shocked? It's a bunch of criminals, right? Demoniac qualities, envious of God, not following, surrendering to the instructions of God. Why are we so shocked? So this is a temporary, miserable place. Someone who's a human, Prabhupada says, if you're in human consciousness, you can understand that. If you don't understand that, then really you're just animal consciousness. My Gurudev said, like two-legged animal. Only difference, no horns and no tail. But low, degraded consciousness, sin. He used to call like your hogs. You're like a hog. You're eating stool. You're laying in the sun, and you think you're happy. So please excuse me. I'm just repeating what acharyas have said. Like worms in the stool, hogs. They're like a low consciousness. So callous. So covered over. We cannot feel anything. Everyone's intoxicated and they want to get to the point that they don't feel anything. Right? No suffering, no anxiety. So someone who's intelligent and wise and sensitive in some kind of more developed intelligence and consciousness to think, no, I'm suffering. If you're in complete anxiety and completely disturbed, that's a suffering condition. And then everything we're doing to try to adjust it doesn't really work or makes the matter worse. It's bewildering. It's set up like that. That's the nature of material world. So Prabhupada said, if you're wise, if you're intelligent, not so degraded, you'll realize, oh, I'm suffering. I have a serious problem. And Prabhupada says, if you don't realize that you have a problem, then you'll not look for solution. Right? If we realize we're in trouble and nothing is working, we're going to be looking for solution. So Krishna is coming and giving the solution, the ultimate solution. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome, welcome.
Wow.
That's a beautiful shirt. You're like the sunshine. You have brought the sunshine in.
Mayapur is opening up where the sun shines.
Hare Krishna. Now some people, they think, okay, I'm suffering. In India especially, I'll go to the demigods. Right? We had a class, I was preaching in Europe other day, someone wrote in one question, he was talking about how Ganesh, appeared in his mind. And I said, wow, you must be looking for money. And then he got like really uptight, I think I hit like raw nerve, some raw nerve, right? So they're worshipping demigods, not to solve, they think, okay, I have a money problem. I have a health problem. My son, he has to pass that exam, or he has one interview in the company. Please, Lord, let him win it, let him get it, let him pass it. This is not pure devotional service. And it's explained, most people, they don't go to Kṛṣṇa because they realize if you go to Kṛṣṇa, he may take everything away from you. So they'll go to Lord Shiva, they'll go to other demigods because they have materialistic desire. Maybe you could call it pious, but I don't know how pious it is that we're desiring something which is causing us to commit sinful activities. But anyway, Krishna says, I am the source, the origin of the demigods. Everyone is part and parcel, everyone is my servant. So even exalted demigods and great sages, great personalities, practicing karma, jnana, yoga, they cannot understand Krishna. Krishna says only by bhakti, only by pure devotional service can I be known. Now Krishna is the source of all knowledge and intelligence. And if we want to surrender to Him and understand Him and serve Him, then Krishna says, I'll give you intelligence how to do it. I'll give you intelligence. But materialistic consciousness, we're very proud, we are very arrogant, we think we can apply our material intelligence, logic, argument, experience, senses to understand absolute truth. It's too much cold blowing out there. Hare Krishna. So if we don't understand Krishna, absolute truth, and we don't understand that we are eternal servants of Krishna, and we're meant to surrender and serve Krishna, then what exactly are we calling spiritual? And Prabhupada said it's not enough to say that we're not the body, we're spirit souls. It's not enough to theoretically say that yes, Krishna is God, He's Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then we remain in material consciousness with material desires, material attachments, material thoughts, material activities. This is not going to be sufficient. This is just like a theoretical understanding. So without real faith in Kṛṣṇa, and without depending on Kṛṣṇa, Prabhupada says you can't even realize that you're a soul. Without Krishna's mercy, we cannot even realize who are we as eternal servant of Kṛṣṇa. So without Krishna's merciful intelligence, by purifying our material contaminated mind and senses, we cannot understand anything that is happening on transcendental platform. So Srila Prabhupada explains that first I came to try to make you into perfect gentleman and lady. First try to come out of this tamagun by gradual process of devotional service, try to purify these lower modes of material nature, especially by hearing about Kṛṣṇa, speaking about Kṛṣṇa, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, taking a lot of Kṛṣṇa prasadam. I'm reminded that one time Prabhupada went to Amsterdam. Have you been there? So I don't think, from what I heard, it seems like a very degraded place.
Yeah.
Could be. So I heard from one Mataji, Prabhupada disciple in Paris, in France. Right? She said that when Prabhupada saw those people, he said, oh, with these people, you cannot preach to them. They're too crazy. They're too much tamagun. So just do Harinam, Premanam Sankirtan, and give them a lot of prasadam. So Prabhupada, especially in the beginning, if you listen to his lectures, he's not speaking for so long time. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, maybe 1 hour, very short classes. But he was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, making prasad, given prasadam, tons of prasadam, try to purify their consciousness. Because if we're in the tamagun, in rajagun, not even sattva gun, how we're going to understand Shuddha Sattva platform? So Shuddha Sattva means transcendental platform, spiritual platform, on soul platform. But without purification of the material mind and senses, we can't even realize even our own soul. What to speak of the super soul, the supreme soul, or to understand God. So it says that verses there that without purification of the mind and senses, we cannot really understand Kṛṣṇa, or the holy name, or his dham, or his associates, or his pastimes, activities. We cannot understand it. Prabhupada says here, in this verse, where is it? Prabhupada says the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Shri Kṛṣṇa, cannot be understood or conceived unless one is in the transcendental position themselves. So unless we come to transcendental position, we cannot understand Kṛṣṇa or really anything about Kṛṣṇa on transcendental platform. Prabhupada gives the example like the sun. Right? If you don't have a fiery body, you cannot enter into the sun. Or like a fish, right? If we don't have fish body, we can't enter into the water. So you have to have the body and the consciousness of the place that we're trying to enter. So if we are in a contaminated material bodily concept of life, not transcendental consciousness, not soul platform, then how are we going to understand Kṛṣṇa? How are we going to have sufficient faith and intelligence to surrender to Kṛṣṇa? It's not enough to say, oh yes, Krishna is God. Okay, we're saying, but are we fully immediately surrendering, promptly and immediately surrendering to Kṛṣṇa? That means we're doubting Kṛṣṇa. So if you say, well, this is just Bhagavad Gita, don't you know more, Maharaj? Can't you tell us some pastimes, some leelas, some kahanis? I remember one time, one of my Indian godbrothers, he asked me to speak in America at one Indian program. And I said, I'm always happy to speak to devotees of Kṛṣṇa. So I went there, and I was saying, you know, how much we're engaged in sinful activities, and we've polluted our consciousness, and we have so much sinful reactions that are just like Himalayan mountains, and it has to somehow get purified. Otherwise, we cannot really understand Kṛṣṇa or surrender to Kṛṣṇa. So my Indian godbrother was shocked. Like, how you're preaching to these people like that? Afterward, he was chastising me. And I was a little confused. I said, you think they came to America for pure bhakti? Wouldn't they have just stayed in the holy dham or stayed in India? Prabhupada says those Indians who come out, right, they're rascals. They're rascal Indians. I remember one time I was distributing Prabhupada's books in the airport in Boston, the Bhagavad Gitas I was distributing, and I saw one Indian man, he was coming, and he was wide-eyed, and he's like, whoa, America, you know. So I stopped him, and I put the Bhagavad Gita in his hand, and I said, sir, this is from America to India. And he thought I was like the welcoming committee. And he was so happy with me that who's this person just welcoming me to America? After so long I tried to get there. Finally he made it. And this man is just freely coming up and congratulating him and welcoming him to America. And then he looked at the book in his hand, and it was Bhagavad Gita. So he came all the way to America to get a Bhagavad Gita. And then he got so nervous, he started like going backwards. He was like getting very disturbed. And then he tripped over like one lady's carriage with the baby carriage. Honest to God story. Because he wasn't going there to get Kṛṣṇa, right? He had some other intention. So one time when Prabhupada was setting up a preaching program in Africa, so he wanted to preach in Africa. So he arranged for Brahmananda Prabhu and other devotees to set up a big program. Now I want to preach to the Africans in Africa. Then when he came, it was just a bunch of like rich Indian people doing business. That was who they collected. And Srila Prabhupada, you can read it, he was so upset with them. And he's saying, I didn't come here to preach to these rascal Indians who left India to just run after money. Okay, go collect some Africans. So Prabhupada was like furious. So they were going around like looking for Africans to come to the class because Prabhupada wanted to preach to the Africans, not to the rascal Indians. And they were like paying the black people in Africa to come to Prabhupada's class because Prabhupada was so furious with them. That how you're bringing me, I want to preach to all of these people, and you're just collecting these other type of people. No disrespect, but they're just not serious about spiritual life. Otherwise, why they left? They're not coming there, they're trying to adopt sinful, westernized, so-called culture and activities, and all of those behavior, bad behavior, sinful behavior. They're not coming there to purify their consciousness or prepare for their next life in the Vedic culture. So anyway, they collected a bunch of Africans, and Prabhupada was able to try to purify them and help them. preach Krishna consciousness to them. So anyway, I preached strongly to these Indian families there. And my Indian godbrother, he was so mad at me. He said, how you can preach so boldly, so strongly like this to the Indian people? And I said, what are you talking about, you know? Everyone is Kalau Shuddha Sambhava. Everyone is like a demon, more or less. It's sinful in Kali Yuga. And he said, no, the Indian people, only you have to speak kahanis. Only pastimes. I said, well, this is the pastime of how conditioned souls are suffering and how they can purify their consciousness to try to move towards Kṛṣṇa. That's this pastime. I don't know what other pastime you're expecting for me to talk about. Because this is the medicine, right? The sadhu, vaidya, like a doctor. So Prabhupada came and he said, okay, like a doctor, he said, okay, this is your disease. There's tamagun, the sinful reactions. When I joined ISKCON, they said, Cheto Dapanamarjanam, just clean the dust. And then I'm cleaning for so many years, it's like the dust not coming up. I'm saying, what kind of dust is that? That's some pretty heavy dust. I'm thinking it's just like a feather duster. You just get rid of the dust and you're like pure devotee, you know. Then my guru, they were laughing. He said, it's not a little bit of dust. It's thick layer. Like a Himalayan mountains, Baba. So that kind of disease. And Prabhupada said, if I told you what you would have to do to qualify yourself in Krishna consciousness, none of you would have joined. So Prabhupada said, I had to a little bit cheat you. Of course, cheating of the sadhu is also a blessing. So Prabhupada laughing, and he's saying later, he said, you see, I just said, you just chant, dance, take prasadam, go back to Godhead. Very easy. Anybody can do it. Even the child can do it. So, okay, even I can do it. Then as you go, you're like, wow, this is some heavy-duty dust. The tamagun, I feel like I have a blanket on me, like a carpet. Not even a blanket. Not even a sheet. Like a quicksand. Moving in the material world. It's a very heavy-duty place, right? Very contaminating place. So Prabhupada said that first thing is try to become Brahmana. Try to become perfect gentleman. Go from this tamagun and rajagun. Try to come to sattvagun. Regulated life, based on hearing and chanting, develop some devotee, Vaishnava quality, become like gentleman and lady. Don't remain, try to improve yourself, try to purify yourself, your consciousness. Then Prabhupada said, then the sattvagun, this is stepping stone how to go to Shuddha sattva. So goodness to pure goodness. Even Brahman platform means body platform. Right? When you go from sattva gun to Shuddha sattva, this is the ultimate bridge preaching. Everybody wants to talk about bridge preaching, right? This is the ultimate bridge preaching. How do you go from sattva gun to Shuddha sattva platform? So Shuddha sattva platform, that is transcendental platform, that is Vaishnava platform. That's real Vaishnava platform. Brahma, Buddha, Kṛṣṇa, transcendental platform. The Vasudeva platform. Swarup Shakti platform. Internal, eternal, superior energy platform. Right? So Krishna says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, separated material energy. Then superior to that is the soul. But right now, that soul is so covered over, and consciousness is very covered, very, very low grade of consciousness because of this influence of this maya, external energy. This is the covering, this is the contamination, this is the false ego platform. And this is the, demoniac qualities platform. So if we're under tamagun and rajagun mostly, then how are we going to jump to transcendental platform? So if we have contaminated material senses, which are three-dimensional, they're covered by three modes of material nature, in degraded, covered consciousness, how are we going to jump from that platform to transcendental platform? It's impossible. Even great sages and the demigods cannot jump to that platform. Even they cannot understand Kṛṣṇa. And yet, Prabhupada says even the so-called scholars of this material world, right? How does he say? Even the demigods and the great sages cannot understand Kṛṣṇa. They can neither understand his name nor his personality. So what then is the position of the so-called scholars, the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? How are they going to understand? Right? And then on this tiny planet, we're not even real scholars. Ivan's the only scholar in the room. Oh, and this one, right? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he thinks he's a scholar. Big mental speculator. But anyway, he thinks he's a scholar. And Adam, of course, come on. Who better than that? I call him Adam Ant. That's my nickname for him. He wants to be puffed up and proud, and I want him to be like an ant. This is the competition we have going on. And he's usually winning, because he doesn't want to see himself as an ant, as a servant. So, none of them can understand it. So what are we trying to understand? Prabhupada said, a sane person, when you finally become sane, you'll stop trying to depend on your imperfect mind, intelligence, and senses. And instead, you'll look how to hear from Kṛṣṇa, Sadhu Guru Vaishnava Shastra, Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Parampara. So Prabhupada says Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Parampara, and Shastra, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita. That is perfect, absolute knowledge, eternally, from a perfect person. So if we want real knowledge, absolute knowledge, we simply have to hear. Krishna says, touch Trinu, hear from me. Because you're my friend, Arjuna, you're my devotee, you're not envious of me, now I'm going to explain everything to you. Then you'll understand everything, Krishna says, of the material world and the spiritual world. Nothing will be left out. But then Krishna says, but if you are too much bewildered by your false ego on bodily platform, you'll not be able to hear me. So we have a hearing problem. We think we have many problems, but we have a hearing problem. We're hearing from Maya in the form of our material intelligence, mind, and senses. Krishna says that the sitting places of Maya is your mind, false ego, intelligence, material senses platform. So we're hearing, we're surrendering, but we're surrendering and hearing from Maya. And because of pride, we think we can understand. But Krishna is saying even the demigods cannot understand. Even the greatest sages and authorities in Vedic culture cannot understand me. And what Prabhupada says, what to speak of this so-called scholars of this tiny little planet in unlimited universes of planets. So that's insane that we think by our false ego and our pride that we have something within ourselves that we can understand, or we have the ability to understand on a transcendental platform, the Supreme Lord, His form, His holy name, His activities, His devotees, the Dham, it's all on transcendental platform. So that's what Prabhupada said, unless you come to that platform, by the mercy of Krishna, the mercy of Krishna's devotee, mercy of Bhagavatam, Shastra, you cannot, you have no access to understand Krishna. We're not surrendering because we don't have faith. We're not trusting Krishna. Many times Prabhupada said, you should trust Krishna. Prabhupada said, I'm not even asking you to trust me. Trust Krishna. So officially, of course we're Vedic culture, of course we're devotees, right? Of course we trust in Krishna. And then we're going about everything on mental platform, thinking platform, activity platform, which has nothing to do with pure devotional service. So it's just like an official, theoretical, sentimental platform which is under the modes of material nature. And then because we don't understand it, we're getting frustrated. It seems very, very complicated. Yes, from that platform, it's extremely complicated. Prabhupada said it's simple for the simple-hearted. So if one is really simple, doesn't mean foolish. It means just some type of purity, some type of innocence, some type of freedom from enviousness from Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Then Krishna said, I'll explain everything to you. But because you're listening to Maya in your false ego platform, and you're bewildered by it, Prabhupada said, material consciousness, people in the material world, all they know is their body and their mind. That's why people get nervous. They say, well, if I stop listening to my mind, then it's like, I'm scared. I don't know what that means. Because we have no understanding and faith in Krishna and learning how to hear directly from Krishna through Guru Sadhu Shastra. And Prabhupada said, and because of this philosophical research work and our scientific schooling and upbringing, we're thinking you can just apply your scientific research work. Prabhupada calls it also your mental gymnastics. You can do mental gymnastics. Still, you'll not be able to understand Krishna. And if we do not understand Krishna, it's because Krishna is not letting us to understand Him. Because we're trying to understand Him without Krishna. So because they're not with Krishna, because they're not surrendered to Krishna, because they have separate interest and desire, Krishna says, I'll hide myself from you. Krishna says, if you try to approach me through karma and jnana and yoga, on your own strength and so-called intelligence, if you try to understand me and approach me on that platform, I will hide myself from you. So, if Krishna is hiding Himself from us, and we have such limited intelligence, strength, and ability, how are we going to understand absolute truth? And why do we think we can understand it? If Krishna is directly saying, I will refuse to reveal myself to you. And you're refusing to give up the process, which not only doesn't work, but Krishna says, because you won't give up that process, that's why it's not working. Are you following this point? So that's why Prabhupada said, if you're very intelligent, you're sane, you're wise, you'll stop trying to depend on your material intelligence and senses on bodily platform, because all of that information that you're getting is coming not from Krishna, it's coming from Maya. And Maya is twisting everything and causing so much misunderstanding. She's giving us the wrong information, the opposite information. So whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling, whatever your emotion that you have, it's very strong. But no, I'm pounding the heart. Many times this thought is coming to me. It's confirming again and again and again. And I said, okay, is it coming from Krishna? Or is it coming from Maya? Okay, it's coming again and again and again. Well, at least you understand that. That's pretty good. But now the question is, what is the source of that information? Who is the source of that information that's affecting your thoughts, your feelings, your emotion? Is it coming from Krishna or is it coming from Maya? And most times when we ask, do I say, well, I don't know. That's a good question. And the spiritualists eternally are asking this question. How do you discern what's coming from Krishna and what's coming from Maya? Especially if you're beginning spiritual life or you're not so qualified or advanced, how are you going to know? Because Maya will come and dress everything up as spiritual. She's not going to come and look like an ugly witch. She's going to come as a beautiful maiden and put a garland around your neck. My Gurudev used to say. So, my Gurudev used to explain nicely. He said, you see, Maya, she makes you think that what's real, she'll make you think it's unreal. And what's unreal, she'll make you think it's real. And what is true, she'll say that's untrue, don't trust it. And what is not true, she'll say you should trust it. What is up is down, down is up. This is what how Maya is playing on this bodily, mental, false ego platform. And we get a thought, oh, Krishna. We get a feeling and emotion, oh, Krishna's prompting me. Really? 100% sure? Well, no. So this is question. So at least first, we have to hesitate that, okay, are these thoughts, plans, ideas, feelings, emotion, which is undeniable, what is the source? Is it coming from Krishna? Because Prabhupada said the soul, Atma, is meant to take dictation and instruction from Paramatma. Krishna says, I'm in the heart of every living entity, Chaitya Guru. Ādiḥ Guru, Chaitya Guru. And from me comes knowledge and intelligence and remembrance. So Krishna says, if you don't want to remember, then I'll make you forget. If you want to remember, I'll help you to remember, and then I'll give you intelligence and faith how to come to me. So Prabhupada says that the best instruction that Krishna gave to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita is that he should surrender to the Supersoul within his own heart and take dictation and instruction from the Lord within. Can we hear Krishna internally? Why? Contaminated mind, intelligence, and senses. Krishna we cannot hear him. Prabhupada said because bewildered by false ego platform. So we have a hearing problem. We're hearing. But who are we hearing from? We're surrendering. But who are we surrendering to? So we have minute independence, Krishna says. Minute independence. Many people forget the word minute. They think, no, we have independence, we can decide. No, minute means you have one decision. How's that for minute? You have one decision you can make. Either surrender to Krishna or not. Either surrender to Krishna or surrender to Maya. Then once you make that decision, your independence is finished. If you surrender to Krishna, then Krishna picks you up, puts you in the superior internal spiritual energy, and gives you intelligence, strength, inspiration, how to move in the spiritual side. If we misuse the minute independence and instead we choose Maya, then Vaishnava songs, they say Maya will put a chain around your neck and simply drag you and force you to think about and to engage in sinful activities with uncontrolled mind and senses. As soon as we don't agree to surrender to Krishna, immediately material desires, sinful desires, uncontrolled mind and senses, immediately you get that reaction. If you're smart, if you're conscious enough. If you surrender to Krishna, if we surrender to Krishna, Krishna is Rishikesh, the master of the mind and the senses, then Krishna says, I will purify and control your mind and your senses for you. That's the deal. So do we want purified and controlled mind and senses in that service, devotional service towards Krishna, and rejecting that? Then immediately mind says, okay, you don't want to surrender to Krishna? How's this for a plan for you? How's this thought? How's this desire? How's this feeling? How's this emotion? Thinking, feeling, willing. Soon as we don't want to surrender to Krishna, immediately Maya will come and tell you to do some other thing. Immediately. My Gurudev used to say that if you stay in Krishna samsara, Guru samsara, you're protected from Maya. But as soon as you walk out of the gate, Maya will catch you by the shoulder immediately and drag you, force you towards sinful thoughts, emotions, feelings, activities. Then, now punishment, now sinful reaction. So the problem is this mind and senses. Krishna says your mind can be your best friend or your worst enemy. So do we want our mind to be best friend or worst enemy? Are we living with the serial killer? Can you imagine you go to university and you find out your roommate is a serial killer and he doesn't like Indian bodies? That's not the place to figure that out, you know what I mean? And then you're going to be in the room and you're going to feel peaceful in that room? And then he has, what was it? Chainsaw? Yeah, he's got a chainsaw, right? You're in the other room, it's like, chainsaw massacre. Right, and then we're on the phone, I think my roommate just started a chainsaw, you know? Ask Dad if he has good insurance policy, you know? So we're going to leave it up to that? Is that intelligent? Is that wise? That's what Prabhupada said, if you're really intelligent and you're wise, right? Only pure devotees of Kṛṣṇa who are fully surrendered to the Lord can understand, by the grace of the Lord, that He is Bhagavan, that He is Supreme. They therefore do not bother themselves with this impersonal Brahman realization or so-called worship of demigods. Krishna says they're less intelligent. Because their faith and their devotion in Kṛṣṇa brings them to completely surrender immediately to the Supreme Lord. So if we really get Krishna's mercy, and He purifies mind and intelligence, and He gives and reveals Himself and gives us that spiritual intelligence and strength and faith, immediately we would look to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. Immediately. Prabhupada says promptly. Not, oh, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to work it out. I'm trying to understand it. It seems so complicated. I have to be cautious, careful, right? It's a crookedness. That means no simplicity. Crookedness. Kapati. But if one is simple, Prabhupada gives example that if the person is sleeping and he's simple and you make some noise, immediately he wakes up. But if somebody is crooked and they're faking that they're sleeping, no matter what you do, they won't wake up. Even you stop the chainsaw, you won't wake up. So this is meant for simple people. That's why Mahaprabhu, he didn't initially preach to the scholars and the students and the impersonalists and the demigod worshippers and the Buddhists. He waited till lastly to deal with that crew.
Yes.
Because they're the most complicated, most crooked, most contaminated personalities. And it said in Mahaprabhu, he's flooding everywhere with the prema. Like an inundation. Old people, young people, educated, you're just caught up in an inundation. Like this, what is it?
Tsunami.
Tsunami of prema. You just get caught in it. Right? But who can get that mercy? Who can avoid a tsunami of prema? Only crooked person. Only kapati. Only they cannot get mercy from Mahaprabhu, Shri-Guru Gauranga. So we should be praying, I hope to God I am not so stupid and unfortunate and complicated and crooked that somehow a tsunami goes by and I miss it. That would be the worst case scenario, isn't it? And they were so dull, we're like, did something happen here last night? Nobody's there. They all went back to Goloka Vrindavan. Did something happen here last night? This is so complicated. So I asked Srila Gaur Swami one question. I said, Gurudev, it seems like you have to be pure devotee in order to recognize a pure devotee. And he said, yes. Otherwise, how you understand? And Prabhupada says the same thing. It takes one to know one. Takes one to know one. So Prabhupada said 2 mercies are required. Mercy from Kṛṣṇa and mercy from Sadhguru Vaishnava. Prabhupada said in spiritual life, all of your, everything in spiritual life is more or less completely depending on the mercy of the Guru. Everything, more or less, is completely depending on the mercy of the Guru. That's Prabhupada teaching like this. My Gurudev, Srila Govinda Swami, he used to say that if you go to Kṛṣṇa and you say, oh Kṛṣṇa, you're Kripa Sindhu, you're ocean of mercy, please shower your mercy to me, then Kṛṣṇa will tell you why you came to me. I don't have any mercy. I left it all down there. I left it with my devotee. He has power of eternity on Krishna's mercy. Kṛṣṇa says in Bhagavad Gita, if you want to know me in truth, what is it? Tattva? Vidi panipatena paripasnena sevaya videshantite jnanam gyarinas tattvatasana. Kṛṣṇa says, if you want to know me in truth, here we're talking about Kṛṣṇa revealing, right? Kṛṣṇa says, if you really want to know me, then you go and surrender to my devotee, bona fide Guru in my disciplic succession. You surrender there and be humble, render menial service, hear from him, purify yourself, qualify yourself. And some question you have, some doubt you have, then you humbly ask, and then he'll help you to resolve it. That's Kṛṣṇa's system. Prabhupada said, if your conditioned soul, Kṛṣṇa, the only intelligence that Paramatma Super Soul will give you as a conditioned soul is who to accept as your Guru. And then all that work from Kṛṣṇa's arrangement will come through Kṛṣṇa's true representative. It says, by the mercy of Kṛṣṇa, one gets a Guru. By mercy of the Guru, then one gets Kṛṣṇa. 2 mercies required. The first mercy is Kṛṣṇa's mercy. By the mercy of Kṛṣṇa, then he hands you over to bona fide Guru in disciplic succession, prabhavam. He'll give you intelligence. Kṛṣṇa said that Paramatma, Chaitya Guru, will dictate to you that you should accept that person as your Guru. He's my man. I'm going to help you through this personality. And you should accept it. It's an unbelievable offer. But can we hear it? So if we're not depending on Kṛṣṇa, if we do not have sufficient faith in Kṛṣṇa, and we cannot depend on Kṛṣṇa, and we cannot hear Kṛṣṇa, that means he's not revealing himself. That means we didn't meet the threshold. Then we're not meeting the threshold, still in tamagun, attached materially, sinful thoughts, desires, activities, and sinful reactions. And then we're going to opine on who is a Guru and who isn't a Guru. Opine. Do you think he's a Guru? Is he? Is he not? Is he? Is he not? So then the debate will go on for the next 50 years. Who is a Guru? What is a Guru? Right? We need another Shastric advisory update. Right? It's like your computer, right? It's like your cell phone, right? Oh, new update. You get new software. Right? So absolute truth is the total update. It's not that it gets updated frequently. I wonder if Krishna will give us the new beta understanding of the absolute truth. We're on our way. Right? No, with Krishna, you get the perfect knowledge up front. But we're not going to Krishna. We're not trusting Him. We're not hearing Him. We're not following His instruction. No, I'll just figure it out. I'll work it out. Let me solve all my problems first and then I'll surrender. My Gurudev used to say that time will never come, that you solve all of your problems first and then you surrender to Krishna. By not surrendering to Krishna, it will be a cascade, an unending tsunami of problems because we're not surrendering to Krishna. So there'll never be an end where everything's solved and now finally you can surrender to Krishna. Never going to happen like that. So if somebody is simple, honest, human being platform, and you get perfect knowledge from perfect source, Krishna will give you intelligence and faith. This is meant for you and you should take it. This is your golden opportunity. But if we're so smart and so proud and so crooked, like a man who's thinking that he's sleeping, they'll never wake up. Sometimes I say to devotees, if Krishna himself came and tried to preach to you, even Krishna couldn't convince you. You're so stubborn. Even Krishna's like, forget it, man. I can't preach to that guy. You know? You figure it out. Any questions? Points? Yes? Puerto Rico? Yes. So who are you surrendering to? Krishna or Maya? You're surrendering. Everybody's surrendering. Everybody's serving. Everybody's hearing. Who are we surrendering to? Who are we serving? What are we hearing? And what is the source of that hearing? That's the only question. That's our question tonight.
I was trying to hear you, but wasn't going inside sometimes. So.
I was trying to hear you, but it wasn't going inside sometimes.
So you weren't hearing Krishna's instruction? So who were you hearing? The mind. The mind. Sometimes I ask the devotee, you have instruction from Krishna and the Guru, and you have everything is crystal clear. How you got so messed up? If you follow everything, you get mercy of Guru and Krishna, everything will go very nicely for you. So how did you get so messed up? Prabhupada said, if you make the instructions of your Guru, your life and your soul, this is the secret of success in spiritual life. That's how to get continued mercy from Krishna and the Guru. And they said, well, I know you said like this and this and this and that, but I was thinking, and then this becomes like a little joke between us. I was thinking, there's nothing to figure out. Krishna already has it figured out. He already knows what's best for us. Our question should be, how do we get Krishna to explain to us what he has already figured out, which is best for us? That should be our question. Well, I'm just trying to figure it out. Figure what out? Kṛṣṇa already figured it out. He said, I'm the source of the Vedanta. By all the Vedas I am to be known. You're getting perfect knowledge from perfect source. What is there to figure out? He already figured it out. Well, I'm just trying to work it out. I'm just trying to figure it out. I was thinking, I was feeling. The class made me a little uncomfortable. It was very challenging. It was very confronting. It was very heavy. It wasn't a light conversation. Like this guy is like very aggressive, very aggressive. He's not backing down, he's not, he's chastising us, he's chastising us, he's calling us hogs, two-legged animals, deaf, dumb, and blind. That's what my guru did to me also. At first it was like, wow, this is kind of disturbing. This is like a little unpalatable. What are you expecting? Some esoteric experience? Did you think I was just going to tell you stories? Some kahanis? This is a kahani. This is how conditioned souls give up over dependence on imperfect process and instruments. That's this lila. Because every other lila requires this condition to be met first. This is the prerequisite. Right? You can't just jump and say, okay, I want a PhD. You gotta go through a system. Right? You gotta go to class, you gotta register, you gotta go pick a nice instructor, you gotta pass all the exams, right? Take one degree, another degree. You don't just come in first day and say, I want honorary degree. Sometimes they give some crazy guy an honorary degree, you know? Yes, we'll give you an honorary degree. The guy did nothing. He was celebrity, honorary degree. So Prabhupada said, don't wait for an honorary degree. Do the work. But most of us were very lazy, spiritually, especially. It says in the Kali Yuga, so degraded age, people have no interest in hearing in parampara, disciplic succession. Other ages, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, everybody understood you have to do sharpenam in parampara, disciplic succession, to get knowledge. But not in Kali Yuga. People are not inclined to hear parampara, disciplic succession. They want to speculate. They're so proud, they think they can understand everything. Isn't it? So it says in the Kali Yuga, everyone will not have really good intelligence, like low, small. We're like, what? I'm very brilliant. I'm very intelligent. I have so many degrees. I have so much qualification. Didn't you see on my gate outside of the house how much qualification I have? I never saw that before I came to India, where the man puts on the gate what his degrees are. That was like a shocking to me. BA, BS, MA, MBA, but it's like, what is this, advertisement? This is how a smart man lives in this house. Let me just tell you, a very smart man. And then the dog is going by and passing urine on it, Very smart man. I put those up high so the dog can urinate on it, I put an eye on the fence. And I put a neon sign around it. Just in case anybody forgets, MBA, PhD, very smart man lives here. And then it has like an arrow pointing, right? In this house, a very smart man lives in this house. Everybody. The traffic flow is going to the yard, you know? I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult you, you know. I just never saw that before I came to India. Maybe in a book or some, you know, some business card or something like that, but not on the gate, the front gate. Because in India, everyone so much wants education, right? I come from Orissa. That's where I'm from. That's where I got trained, in Orissa. My Gurudev's from Orissa. Right? Every block, every street has an engineering college. I mean, it's like the poorest state in India, right? And you have 5,000 engineering colleges there. Then you go for the job and there's like 20,000 people applying for one job. Isn't it? It's unbelievable. What scam is going on there? As if you get the education, right? You get a good job, you get some money, then everything is solved. No problems now anymore. Now peace, happiness will come to you. I asked all in Bhubaneswar, we had a big gathering there, preaching one day. I asked, okay, now you have your education, you have your job, profession, you have your money, you have your wife and your children and your husband and your house and your vehicles and your bank balance. How many of you are really peaceful and happy and satisfied? I asked them. How many can honestly say that you are peaceful, happy, and satisfied by what you've accomplished and what you have obtained? And nobody raised their hand. Nobody. Not one. Only one guy. And then he stood up. I said, let me hear this, you know. He's like, it's okay, he's peaceful, happy, satisfied. I gotta hear this one, you know. Then he stands up and he said, first of all, I have to say that how much I love Kṛṣṇa. I just love Kṛṣṇa. He is so nice. But I also like Maya. I'm also liking Maya. And everybody started laughing, you know. But he was being honest, so you have to give him credit. Right? But Kṛṣṇa doesn't, that's not how Kṛṣṇa plays the game, you know. Kṛṣṇa says, no, only think about me. Right? Keep me in your mind. You follow my instruction. As you surrender to me, then I'll reward you accordingly. So who are we serving? Who are we surrendering to? What are we hearing? One person recently, he came to me and he said, I need to express myself to you, Maharaj. I need to be heard. And I was trying to talk to him. He said, no, I need to be heard. I need to express myself. And I said, okay, I'll let you express yourself. But I only have one question. Where will it come from? Will it come from Maya or will it come from Kṛṣṇa? What are you going to express to me? Is it going to come from Maya or is it going to come from Kṛṣṇa? And then he was bewildered. And he wanted to just keep saying everything that's from Maya. My thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, my plan. And I said, no. Just say what's coming from Kṛṣṇa. And he could barely think of something to say that was coming from Kṛṣṇa. Because 99.9% of it was Maya. So I said, I don't want to hear your Maya. I'd rather focus on the solution. And just like I don't want to hear your Maya, you should be saying you don't want to hear that Maya. Why are you listening to it? Why are you taking it as the gospel truth? Just because I thought it repeatedly, and I'm feeling it, and emotionally I'm liking the idea, and I'm attached to it, and I like the plan. Okay. Whose plan is it? Whose plan? Everyone has a plan. Right? Wasn't Mike Tyson? He was one boxer. He said everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. Right? There's a lot of philosophy there. Right? He's a very, interesting character. Right? He said everybody's got a plan. Until somebody punches you in the face, then your plan's going to change pretty quickly. Isn't it? So, Kṛṣṇa has a plan for us, believe it or not. And the Guru is trying to give us an understanding of Kṛṣṇa's plan. The Guru doesn't have a personal interest. What does Kṛṣṇa want? That's best for you. So if we won't accept that plan, then that means it's coming from Maya. So if it's coming from Maya, and it's for Maya, and it's in Maya, and the result is Maya, that means the whole thing's going to fail. The whole thing has failed from the beginning. So if you're really smart, you're going to make that investment. It's like if you're trying to invest in stocks and somebody in the know tells you this company is going to go bankrupt and you're going to lose all of your money, absolutely it's going to fail. Are you going to invest in that company? So if you know Maya's plan up front is going to fail and be the source of your suffering condition in the future, you're going to put faith and trust and make that investment? Is that intelligent? Is that wise? Think about it. So if we won't accept Kṛṣṇa's plan, then whose plan are we going to accept? Maya. So Prabhupada said, you don't think you have a problem. You think it's all under control. I get it all worked out, thought it out 1,000 times, got the plan, everything strategically analyzed in the pipeline, right? You don't need a guru. You don't need Kṛṣṇa's intelligence. You don't need a guru. You don't need the Shastra. Because we're acting as our own guru. Kṛṣṇa accepts a guru. Mahaprabhu accepts a guru. All Kṛṣṇa's devotees, Mahaprabhu's devotees, everybody accepts a guru. But no, not us. We're so smart. We're so qualified. We know past, present, and future, what is in our best interest. Only a madman can say like this. So what were we talking about? Speaking about madmen, what were we saying?
How to take shelter of the instructions given by.
What is it? You're my translator.
How to take shelter.
You get a bridge between Tamagun to Rajagun, then we're going to get someone Sattvagun, and then maybe we can understand it. So what happened?
How to understand the instructions.
How to take shelter. The instructions is like the chanting, like inattentive.
How to take shelter of the instructions. Is it like chanting or being attentive? Chanting?
Like Nike says, just do it. Just Do it. Don't listen to your stupid mind. That's where the trouble comes in. Well, I know Krishna said like this, I know the Shastra said like this, I know the Guru Dev told me like this, but I was thinking that I'll do like that. Then, no shelter, no protection of Guru and Krishna, no purified, controlled mind and senses. False ego means Krishna says you're bewildered by your false ego. Now you're shut off from the hearing process. You cannot hear Krishna. You're lost. Krishna says you're lost. So that's the choice that you allowed Maya to influence you towards. Do you like your results? Are you satisfied with your results? Happy, happy, happy? Means we need another plan. Our plan's not working. If you're happy with your results, go for it. Nobody's going to stop you. But if it's not working, and you're not satisfied, and it's getting worse, and you have no faith and hope that you can get out of it, you can't paint a bright future for yourself, then we have to surrender to Krishna. So what are you waiting for?
I tried this morning, but I tried to chant in the morning, but like the mind was like, and then like.
What is it?
I tried this morning, but the mind, the mind was
Good chant, good chant.
You tried this morning. You need more medicine. You need more Shravanam. More Krishna Katha, Hari Katha. More Satsanga, Sadhu Sangha. More Bhagavatam, more Bhagavad Gita, more Prasadam. Is he fasting or he's taking prasad? Yeah, you don't forget that one. Huh? You're not forgetting that instruction. Prasadam, you're first in line. If someone says, you know, Prabhu, can you serve the Vaishnavas today, Prasadam? Did Super Soul tell you to tell me that? Super Soul told you to tell me to serve the devotees, Prasadam? Are you my guru? All of a sudden, are you my guru telling me what to do? I'm hungry. If I don't eat first, I can be dangerous. I'm a trained killer. I'm from Puerto Rico. We stab people for less than that. We'll kill you, man. Right. Looks like we got a wild one there, huh, Sanathan? We got a wild one. We got to put a little like a leash on him, you know. You know, like these Puerto Rican guys, they have these pit bulls, right? These dogs, vicious, right? You got to put a leash on that dog. He's a Puerto Rican pit bull. He can bite you. He's dangerous. Sanatan is your Shiksha Guru. All right, Sanatan, how you ended up with a pit bull from Puerto Rico like this? First he had Adam, you know. He had the Rottweiler, you know, from England. Doberman Pinscher. All right, now he's got a pit bull. Poor Sanatan, you know.
Told me to go to a shop from
And then he's got I don't know if there's a vicious French dog, you know, they seem very like a poodle. He's a vicious poodle. A French poodle. I've come for prasadam. Nobility has arrived. Everyone has their, everybody has their posico, right? Everybody thinks they're great. And we're like so sincere, misunderstood, but very sincere. Don't you hate when people say, I just love people? That saying drives me mad. I just love people. What, the people in the prison house? Are those the people you're loving? I just like this, the guy's in a maximum security prison and he's like, I just love people. Any second he can get stabbed, you know. I just love people. How long will that guy survive? That's my question. He's just walking up and down in the prison house and I just love all of you, you know. I just love everybody. Yeah, I'll show you some love. Here's my love, you know. Love, hate, love, hate. Love and hate. Love and hate. Oh, Kṛṣṇa. That's sentimental. Right? Very sentimental. Emotional. No, it's emotional. It's real. Because I'm feeling it. I'm just being real with you. That's another one, right? I'm just being real with you. No, Prabhupada says you're an insane demon right now. If you're not Kṛṣṇa conscious. I don't need to know how real you're being with me because I'm trying to protect myself from your asatsanga. Great. Anybody else? This is turning into a very interesting discussion. Yes, sir. Ādiḥ.
Just a lovely answer for him that Prabhupada, when he was here in Mayapur, on his morning walk programs, he would talk very freely, quite different from a Bhagavad Gita class or a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class where he's discussing. So this time he said, this is what he's looking for here, he's in Mayapur, and he's looking for this, is that when someone complained, one of his disciples said, chanting, you know, is going on very nicely, but it's the mind, you know. The mind is always like, my mind is going on, chanting, mind. Prabhupada's reply was simply, what's the mind got to do with it?
Tell me.
So on a morning walk, then informal.
My hearing is not great, but so he's going to a little bit fill me in what I missed.
Some informal talk on a morning walk, and the person was telling to Srila Prabhupada that my mind is very disturbed, you know, this and that when I'm trying to chant, and Srila Prabhupada said, what's the mind got to do with it?
Exactly.
So there's the answer. You forget the mind. Forget the mind. Don't go chanting. Let it do its thing. It has got nothing to do with hearing the holy name.
Exactly. It's said sometimes it's how to deal with the mind. It's just like if a crazy person comes up to you and starts like talking to you, right? You just ignore them. You don't give them any credence, you know. Just one way is just ignore it. And then the other way, it's explained is just focus on the instruction you got from Kṛṣṇa through your guru and how to accept those instructions as your life and your soul. So the general instructions and specific instruction. So general instruction means get up in the morning, take a bath, go to Mangalarti, chant Hare Krishna, Mahamantra, hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Prabhupada's program, right? So this is general instruction meant for everybody. This is the Shravanam Kirtanam program, right? And then there's specific instruction. Prabhupada said the spiritual master will say, yes, you're fit to work in the DD department, you're fit to work in the publication department, you're fit to be a teacher, you're fit to be a farmer, you're fit to be, mostly according to psychophysical nature, but also that my Gurudev explained that the Guru knows what is Krishna's intention for you. So if you're praying to Krishna, Krishna, I just want to try to understand what you want me to do, how can I serve you, how can I please you, then Krishna will give intelligence inside and also outside through the spiritual master. So when the spiritual master gives instruction, then Krishna, Paramatma Supersoul, will give you intelligence and faith to accept that instruction. Because it will have the ring of truth, and your soul will feel shelter and protection getting that intelligence and faith from Krishna and the instruction from spiritual master. Then if we just focus on those instructions and try to do them to the best of our ability, this is the other way that we can try to purify and control this crazy mind. So fixing the intelligence and mind on the instructions, general and specific instructions of the spiritual master, which is ultimately coming from Krishna, and then ignoring it. Just ignoring it. It's just some nonsense. But because we didn't study like that, we didn't practice like that, we become addicted. Prabhupada says addicted to this mental speculation. So it's a very, very bad habit to give it up. And so we need better association, better intelligence, better information, which is superior and gives a superior result as compared to us left alone with uncontrolled mind and senses, which has basically bewildered us, helped us make every bad decision we ever made in life, and is the source of our suffering condition. So we need a better information, we need a better plan, we need a better association, and we need to hear there, and then we won't listen to this other thing. If we don't hear nicely a nice association, then all we're left with is Maya just influencing and creating so much disturbance and misunderstanding and twisting everything and agitating everything. And like you were saying, it's just endless. So we need a better plan. We need some better information. As we're getting older, it's like there's not many advantages to getting older, but one of them is that the record starts to become really old and boring. It's been there, done that, same song, it just becomes like no taste. That's one of the advantages. When you're young and you get a new mind and you get it right, you're like, wow, what can it do? What can it think? What can it, right? Like the world is my oyster, you know? It's like, it's unlimited. But then when you're going along and you're realizing this thing's not unlimited, this thing is pretty narrow and pretty foolish and pretty stupid. And just like any record, you play it long enough, it starts to get scratched, it starts to get worn out, right? It's like, so like, when do we just get, you know what, this is so boring and so disturbing and so anti-good for me I need some better association. I need some better information. I need something that's actually interesting and food for my soul. We're starving spiritually. We're translating that into some material sense gratification, but actually it's our soul is starving. So when I met my spiritual master, he's the first person I ever met that when he was preaching to me and speaking to me, it literally was food for my soul. I heard many preachers, many teachers, God bless them. And if other devotees have faith and they like that person, God bless all of them. But it's just not working for me. I don't feel shelter and protection. I'm not satisfied with the answers. They are not able to destroy my doubts. There's no food for my soul. How I can be satisfied in this type of association and hearing just some theoretical presentation of the absolute truth. It's like sending out for a pizza and they give you the box and it's got the picture of the pizza on the front of the box. And then you open it up and there's no pizza in there. And you're like chewing on the box, So, well, I'm hungry. Looks like a pizza. I'll just imagine that it's a pizza and you're chewing on the cardboard. Oh, this is pretty good cardboard compared to last week, It's much softer, much more tasty. Now, that's going to satisfy you. God bless you. Good luck. And then someone comes and says, yeah, there's food for the soul. And you're like, great. And everyone hands out a box of pizza, right? Then you open it up, it's like no pizza's there. My Gurudev used to say that if you hear from somebody who has theoretical understanding, it's like you're firing a gun, but it has no bullet, right? It's just like a blank. So sometimes they have this gun, right? Boom, makes a big noise, big movement, big smoke, even fire, but no bullet. So Krishna is the bullet. So that's why I said, if we're not sincere in our speaking and our hearing, Krishna is not going to manifest, then how will our soul be benefited? How will our soul be satisfied? Then we're just wasting our time. It says, whatever you do, if it's not for Krishna or Krishna is not satisfied with you, you're wasting your time. It's useless. So if we're going to do this, let's really do it. And then see what is the result. See for yourself what is the result. That's what's going to give you faith. That's what's going to draw you to come again and again because you're getting some benefit out of it. And it's undeniable. If Krishna touches our heart and our life and our consciousness, it's undeniable. You can't argue with success. They say that materially, but it's also spiritually. So what do we really want? That's the question. Everything's based on desire. If we hear Krishna's presentation from Krishna's devotee in the Shastra, this will hopefully influence our spiritual desire. If we neglect that association, neglect that topic, neglect hearing from Krishna, Krishna's devotee, there's no medicine, no food for your soul, then the soul will become skinny and will do asatsanga. They will develop material desires, material plans, and it will just force us away from Krishna. And then we'll have to suffer, because that's the reaction, that's the teaching. Sometimes my Gurudev would be preaching, and he would say, you see, you're such a dull fellow. is so dull. And then he would sometimes pray to Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, this person is so dull that he can't hear anything. So please, can you ask Maya to put heavy, heavy lashes on that man? Then he'll get purified. Then maybe he might become more serious and then look to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. That's what Maya is doing. It's a thankless task. Maya is devotee of Kṛṣṇa, and she's putting heavy, heavy lashes on those who are not willing to cooperate with Kṛṣṇa. Promising the world and just giving heavy lashes. So we have enough of that. Like Arjuna will be like, okay, I can't tolerate this one more second. Even one more second, I cannot go through this anymore. Then he surrendered to Kṛṣṇa. So Maya is forcing us to get such a beating, such a punishment, that it forces us to surrender to Kṛṣṇa. Now Kṛṣṇa is all attractive. Krishna's devotees are all attractive. Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, Kṛṣṇa, it's all attractive. But Mahaprabhu said, I'm so unfortunate that although everything is there, I'm so unfortunate that I cannot take advantage of it. That's our condition. So to say everything is fine and I'm well situated and I got it all figured out, that's the height of ignorance, arrogance. My Guru said, if you're a proud, arrogant fellow, you cannot beg for mercy. There's too much pride. I don't need to be saved. I don't need anyone's advice. I'm my own man. I can figure it out. Then we're not crying for mercy. If we say, I'm deaf, dumb, and blind, I have no idea what's in my best interest, I have uncontrolled mind and senses, which is being directly influenced by Maya, I'm in trouble, I get a serious problem in front of me if I don't solve this, then we'll cry for mercy. So if the heavy lashes forces us to cry for mercy, is that not a blessing? So when our Gurudev used to say, Kṛṣṇa, Maya, give him more heavy lashes, then the guy's face would be like, oh my God, you know. And then everyone would be like, oh Prabhu, you're so fortunate, you got the mercy. Got the mercy. I got a chakra and some heavy lashes waiting for me. Right? Yeah, you got the mercy. You're very fortunate. But for conditioned soul, we won't feel fortunate. We'll feel like, oh, no. You'll be looking over your shoulder. You'll be double checking your math. So now then you look tired dealing with all these wild animals, you know. Not all of them, some of them are more well-behaved than others. And then you have your French poodle. I didn't see him after a long time, so I thought he would feel like I'm neglecting him if I don't give him little attention. So that's why I say he's a French poodle. You know, when you're trying to be a tough guy and someone calls you a French poodle, it's like you're ready to, like, you know, go to war with that person. You know? You're just a French poodle, you know. He thinks he's a gangster from Puerto Rico. He's competing with this guy. Any other questions or points? Anything else? You're good? Oh my God, he's becoming happy though. Otherwise he's dangerous. That guy unhappy is dangerous. I'm just trying to protect you guys. The more happy he gets, the more protection you get. Yes. Is it true your name was Angel?
Yeah.
Can you believe this guy has his name as Angel? Only your mother could give you that name.
But my great
My little angel, you know? The guy comes out with an Uzi, you know? Dreadlocks and an Uzi. My little angel. So what happened? Where did you go wrong, angel? When did you become the devil? It's a long story, right? So you're in the holy Dham, you're from an island in the middle of nowhere. And you're in somehow or other, you're in Lord Chaitanya Dham. He's the savior of the most fallen people. So we played our part. So now what is the problem? The mind. So if you don't want to surrender, then you're just committing offenses. So why stay here? Then you're getting yourself in trouble. Then you're letting your mind disqualify you. Then you're in more trouble. So if you're not going to surrender, and not going to act like really devotee, then better leave. It's more safe for you. Because if we're disobeying, committing offenses, aparads, sinful activity in Dham, then it's even more heavy reaction and punishment towards you. Okay? Yeah?
You said that absolute truth. You said the absolute truth.
Absolute truth?
Yeah.
Yes, Kṛṣṇa.
It's a complete update.
It's what?
Complete update.
Yeah.
You said some other things like partial updates.
You don't have the hardware. Right? You can't handle the update. You can't handle the original download.
Can't handle the truth.
Yeah, you'll blow up. Right? So you have to have the right vessel to handle that download. If you have a heavy duty speed, heavy duty download, and you have a cheap China phone, right? It's gonna blow up. You have no capacity to receive it. And the speed will only make it blow up quicker. And you thought you were from New York. He thought it was a New York cell phone. New York has a very special kind of pride. Right? And that's from a guy from Boston. So, did you get the answer to your question? Did you get the full download of the absolute truth?
No.
Why?
I don't have the hardware.
Huh?
I don't have the hardware.
We need a new body. We need a purified, updated version. You gotta change out all the hardware. Hard drive, everything. Pretty much the shell might look the same, but the whole inside has to be completely upgraded. So we're in the process of dismantling the faulty equipment and trying to put in the right equipment so that you can receive the download. I'm not even a technology guy. I don't even believe I'm saying like this. I don't even know how to open my computer. So we're in the process of purifying mind and senses, because that's where it's going to come through. Right? If we have steel plates, right, what connection you're going to have? Right? So if you're sitting in a room which has 10 layers of steel, and you have your Wi-Fi, you have your password and username, right? Are you going to get the connection? So it's too much blockage. So that has to get purified. Right? The more the contamination gets purified, the more pure we become, the more we'll be able to receive that signal. And the more we receive the signal, the more revelation will come. So Krishna says, as you surrender to me, I reveal myself to you proportionally. So Prabhupada says the process of Krishna consciousness, process of purification, especially in beginning. Cleansing is required. But that's the hard part. That's the part everybody wants to conveniently, dismiss. Right? We want to skip all the tough part, the difficult part, the purification part, and then we're going to put on I left my heart in Vrindavan t-shirt and just sit in the courtyard crying like you're a gopi in separation. This is the biggest cheating. That's artificial. No qualification, no authorization, actually offensive. Because it says if you bypass the instructions of the Goswamis, Srila Rupa Goswamis, you will be a disturbance not only to yourself but to the whole community. So there's a process. This is a science, and it begins with Shravanam, hearing. Prabhupada says Shravanam, hearing from bona fide, authorized, empowered source in parampara. That's first and most important aspect of devotional service. So without sufficient, proper and sufficient hearing, we cannot purify our consciousness. Prabhupada said, you cannot purify your consciousness by yourself. Sanjay in Bhagavad Gita, he said, because I pleased my spiritual master, he purified my mind and senses for me. And then I was able to hear Krishna directly. So purification of mind and senses is the first serious work and goal Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains. That's the first major goal. The next one after that is Krishna Prema. So to go from a Dashra, beginning faith, to Nishta, which is after Anatta Nivritti, this is the long, difficult purification process. But to go from Nishta to Krishna Prema, in the right association, it's very fast. If you have Premi Bhakta Sangha, and you get their mercy and blessing, then from Nishta, where seed of Prem Bhakti is planted in Nishta, to Krishna Prema, that process, by their mercy, is very quick. But to go from beginning faith through the hard work of purification and training and qualification, this is not, my Gurudev used to say, this is not child's play. This is not for the what do they say?
Faint of heart.
Yeah, this is not for the faint of heart. So for very not serious people, whimsical, we're not prepared to do the work, then it's impossible. Krishna says, if your intelligence is many-branched, then the resolute determination and faith to practice devotional service will not manifest. So the first thing is, how do we make this crazy mind and senses not many-branched? Right? So that means we have to focus on Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam in association with Krishna's pure devotee. Can I just take 5 more minutes of your time? Because the purport in the verse before this talks exactly on this point. Krishna tells Arjuna, listen again. He's always saying, touch Trinu, hear from me, listen again. Because you are my dear friend, for your benefit, I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I had already previously explained to you. In the purport, Prabhupada says, the more one hears, are you awake? Huh? I thought you were falling asleep. Are you just going back to mental speculation? Be attentive. All right? Prabhupada said you have to be attentive and perfectly anxious to hear. Perfectly anxious to hear. If you have a problem and you're trying to solve your problem, you will be perfectly anxious to hear from someone who wants to help you solve your problem. If we don't think we have a problem, we'll be maybe a little inquisitive, but we're not going to be perfectly anxious to get the solution because we don't think we need it, we don't think we have a problem. So Prabhupada says you must be very attentive. Otherwise you're just spaced out, listening to your mind, then you can't hear anything because all of that is on false ego platform. That's a mind, once again, just like, how does it feel? How is it emotionally affecting you? What are your thoughts during this experiment, during this experience? Right? You're lost. You're speculating. So the more one hears about the Supreme God, Prabhupada says, the more one will become fixed in devotional service. So the more we associate and hear about Krishna, the more fixed you will become in your devotional service. So if we are not fixed in devotional service, it just simply means we're not hearing enough from Krishna and Krishna's devotee. So Prabhupada said, one should always hear. Prabhupada in other places said you should design a lifestyle where you can make this hearing and chanting in association with devotees your number one priority. If you're serious about spiritual life. So one should always hear about the Lord in the association of pure devotees. And that will enhance one's devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of pure devotees. It's not, I'm going to the Sunday love feast to associate with the devotees. And then we're just going to gossip about what's happening locally, or with this leader or that leader, or find out what everybody's doing. Is there any business opportunity? Can I make any money? Money, money, money. Brighter than the sunshine, sweeter than the honey. My Gurudev used to say like that. Govinda Swami. Money, money, money. Brighter than the sunshine and sweeter than the honey. Money, money, money. Prabhupada says discourses in the society of devotees can only take place among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. So that's why I said, if we're not sincere and serious and really anxious, Krishna is not going to come here. He's not going to purify us. He's not going to give us faith. He's not going to give us the right understanding because we're not qualifying ourselves. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Others, Prabhupada says, cannot take part in such discourses. So those who are not perfectly anxious, really anxious, they cannot take part in the discourses. They may officially sit there, but they're not really participating and partaking in the benefits of the discourse, because the mercy that's required is not coming, because we're not meeting the pre-qualification or the prerequisite. Krishna says, because you're my friend, you're my devotee, you're not envious of me, I'll explain everything to you. Many times my Gurudev used to say in Bhubaneswar, he said, although many of you are sitting here and apparently you're listening, you're not actually listening, because your mind is stolen by illusion. You're thinking of your mother, your wife, your husband, your children, your bank balance. You're thinking about everything else. Therefore, your mind is stolen by that illusion. Therefore, this katha will never enter inside of you. Unless we are really serious and anxious and sincere, Prabhupada says, to be in Krishna consciousness and to understand how to get there, you cannot take part in these discourses. In other words, we cannot really be benefited. Prabhupada said, because you're condemned by the material energy, by Maya. She's not allowing you to benefit in the discourse of Krishna Katha. So the Lord, finally, Prabhupada said, the Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, then for his benefit, such discourses are taking place. So we're not really being devotee, we're not really surrendering, means we're envious of Krishna. Why is he the enjoyer? Why is he the controller? So we're not meeting the prerequisite, the pre-qualification, and then without meeting that, we're just sitting there like as official mental speculators, so-called pseudo-scholars, speculating on the absolute truth, with no devotion, little to no faith, no willingness to accept the process or the science that Krishna has asked of us. And then we're going to sit with our false ego under tamagun and a little bit of rajagun and creatively do gymnastics and imagine what is spiritual. Right? Prabhupada said, right? In the first verse we said, where did he say that?
Mental gymnastics. Mental gymnastics.
Yeah. Prabhupada said, you can speculate to the limits of your imperfect senses. Maybe you can come to impersonalism. Or They can imagine something by mental speculation. So Prabhupada said, if you're a conditioned soul, under modes of material nature, you have not sufficient purification of mind, intelligence, and senses to hear Krishna directly. Sometimes we were preaching and one devotee said, "Oh, that's nice, Maharaj. I'll just ask Krishna if what you said was correct. I'll get it confirmed." Of course, Krishna will confirm it. If it's coming from Krishna, Krishna will say, "You should accept that. That's a good information for you. He's speaking the truth to you." And otherwise, if we're just bewildered by the falsico, we cannot hear anything. And we'll not get the effects of the hearing. That's what's so bewildering is we think we're sincere, we think we're surrendered, we think we're a devotee, we think we're already pretty much doing everything. We feel emotionally that we're sincere and we're devotee and everything is nice, but no results. Or very little results. So that's very bewildering. So if we, in our foolishness or immaturity or pride or sentimentality, if we assume through creative mental speculation that we are on a platform that we are not actually on, then when you don't get the results, you'll be completely bewildered. Because you'll think you've understood everything and are already doing everything. I'm so sincere, I'm so surrendered, everything's for Guru Krishna, I'm a devotee, I have so much faith. And then I would ask the devotee, if that's really true, then why would you not get any good result? There's some disconnect. This is what I told in Denmark. You think you're right, you think everything you're doing is being offered to Krishna and he's accepting it. But are you happy with your results? No. So then what's the problem? Why are the results not coming? If you think you're doing everything properly and you feel that, shouldn't the results and the reciprocation from Krishna, shouldn't that indicate that? Prabhupada said, you judge the thing by the results. So when someone's saying like that, I said, okay, are you happy with your results? No. So that means, ultimately, that means Krishna's not happy. That means we must be doing something wrong. Maybe it's not as real as you think it is, or sincere as you may think it is. Maybe you're assuming that Krishna is accepting your service when you're not following the process by which Krishna says he'll accept your service. So when we were preaching, Krishna says, if one offers me with love and devotion, leaf, fruit, flower, water, then I'll accept it. So what does loving devotion mean? It means pure consciousness and bhakti. If there's no pure consciousness, there's no bhakti, then who are we doing it for? And then Krishna says, and then you have to offer it through disciplic succession. Prabhupada says, Krishna will not accept your offering directly. Now, if you go sincerely and you say, Krishna, please, I want to serve you, he'll say, fine, that's very good, now go surrender to my devotee. Purify yourself, qualify yourself, get your questions answered, destroy your doubts, become fixed in your determination and faith to practice spiritual life. This will be pleasing to me, then I'll accept it. but they don't want to accept Krishna's process. Wishful thinking. Prabhupada says, not that you do anything you want and then afterward you say, oh Krishna, that was for you. Prabhupada said, this is not in the line of pure devotional service. Are we answering your question? Huh? You don't like my answer?
No.
Huh?
Like,
You do? Is Krishna convincing you? Do you have some doubts, some questions? Because unless somebody is completely convinced, I won't give up. I'll not give up trying to. If you finally don't accept Krishna's instructions after endless attempts, then Krishna may give up. But if we're not knowing, but we want to know, then Krishna will help you. So, where do we stand now?
well, there's a lot of things.
Well, let's start with one.
So it's,
We have created problems for ourselves because we didn't hear from Krishna and Guru. We speculated, we listened to Maya, faulty plan, faulty consciousness, faulty execution, faulty result. So everything that we did, thinking, feeling, and willing before surrendering to Guru and Krishna, the whole thing is faulty. And you're getting those results. Right?
Yeah.
So now what to do?
clear my doubts.
Huh? Clear your doubts? Wow, this is going to be tough. You think we can clear his doubts? Can Krishna clear your doubts? All right, let's hear it.
So it's hearing, Shravanam Kirtanam.
Yeah,
This is Chapeter Darpana Marjanam.
yeah, it's a medicine, yeah. Are you taking that medicine? Is it purging your mad mind?
Something.
Something. So you need more medicine. If you take good medicine and it's working, then you just have to take more medicine, right?
Yeah.
But if you take some medicine, like, wow, that works pretty good, then you'll take more medicine. So why you're not taking more medicine? Because we're addicted to mental speculation. We can't give it up. We're not giving it up. It's like a dysfunctional relationship where it's causing you all types of pain, but still you can't give it up. Well, I love her. I love him. He's drinking and beating you every night, and you won't give it up because you love them. That means we're attached to a very dysfunctional relationship, right? So, if we are addicted to mentally speculating, and that's all we know, you think it's going to be so easy to just give up mental speculation? You need to flood the zone with as much hearing and chanting about the absolute truth as possible, because those are the only moments you even have a chance not to go back to being mental speculator. At least for a few minutes, you can suspend the mental speculation, right? But as soon as we're not hearing Krishna, Guru, Sadhu, Guru, Shastra, what do? Asatsanga, in the mind. Otherwise, material topics, material vibration, false ego, pride, arrogance, material desires, material attachments, material plans. That's all we're left with. So we have to absorb ourselves, design a life. If we're serious about spiritual life, design a life where we're maximizing hearing and chanting in the right association, which is undeniable result. If you don't get the result, then what's the point of dedicating yourself to it? You're useless. It's useless. There must be some tangible, practical, undeniable experience. That's the only thing that will convince your soul. That's how Krishna is convincing your soul. That's how Krishna is canvassing for your soul. If you don't have Krishna's representative constantly canvassing for your soul, and you give up that association and that hearing process, then what's left? Maya. Then you're lost. Then there's no chance. Then once again, back to like a drug addict. You know, I just need some space. You know, I just gotta figure things out. You know, I'm missing my mental speculation. I can't wait for this class to get over so I can go back and speculate about what I think I just heard and what that means in my life. I can't wait to talk to my best friend and tell her what happened. So Maya, what just happened in there? Oh boy, I'd be careful. I'd be really careful. You're in a dangerous position now. This guy is dangerous. I'd be very skeptical. Very suspicious. Who is this guy anyway? He just comes in here and telling us about the absolute truth, telling us not to listen to our intelligence, and what are we just like? Are we joining a cult? Is this a religious cult? Is this guy a religious cult leader? Expecting complete submissive adherence? Yes. To Krishna. Leave me out of it. What have I asked you to do? Take me out of the equation. Krishna is saying, just surrender to me. Don't listen to Maya, who's captured your mind, intelligence, and senses. That way you won't be misguided to make wrong decisions, which will be the cause of your suffering. That's all we're asking you. Right? That's all Krishna is asking. So what's the problem? Why are you trying to shoot the messenger? The truth is still the truth. Even if you shoot me, it doesn't change the truth. It doesn't change the process. It doesn't change the science. It doesn't change what Krishna is expecting from us. So if your mind and Maya can find enough fault with me personally, now you have a nice convenient excuse not to accept Krishna's instructions. I'm just being intelligent. I'm just being careful. I'm just being cautious. I don't know this person. I just met him a couple minutes ago. Right? I don't know what his motivation is. Are we asking you to rob a bank? Like, what are we asking you to do here? You know, offer Krishna with pure consciousness and a mood of loving devotion, so Krishna will accept it. Wow, that's dangerous information. Really dangerous what he's saying right now. That should be, fact-checked. It needs fact checking. Check it out. It's Krishna's words. Don't blame me. You're the one who made a mess of your life. I'm just trying to help you how to sort it out and make the best use of a bad bargain. And then you're going to find fault with me? Anyone else spending time trying to help you? Have I asked anything from you, ever? Still I try to help you, right? So is it fair and smart to maintain your doubts? He's nervous. It's like a drug addict, like when you take the drugs away from him, right? And he just got off the drugs, and you just have the drugs are like right there, and he just like keeps looking at the drugs, you know? He's like, I hear you. So
there's a lot of points. There's a lot of points. There's a lot of points. There's a lot of
well, you got a lot of problems, so it requires a lot of points. You know, you know, it's like you go to the doctor, right? You get like terminal cancer, you know, and the guy, you know, it's like, you know, like why didn't you just give me an aspirin, you know? Well, you got some serious problems. This is going to require more than orange juice, you know? My Maharaj gave me so much different medicines I have to take, you know? I thought he was just going to, like, you know, like Harry Potter, use a stick and, you know, it's like, you know, exercise me, you know, and make all the demons go away. Exorcism, you know? Put some holy water on that guy, you know? Leave him, leave him. Get rid of the demons. Yeah, this is exorcism. That's what's happening. Krishna loves to kill demons. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. He has so much fun killing demons. And all of his friends love when Krishna's killing demons. They love it. They have such a hero friend. Right? It's like if you have this really tough friend who beats everybody up, you know? Especially when they're very, like, not good people, you know? And then the guy's like, okay, I'll take care of this guy for you. So Krishna's like the ultimate hero, you know? But he wants to be Kṛṣṇa, you know? Little skinny guy from New York, he wants to be Kṛṣṇa, you know? Are we solving the problems?
Yeah.
Step by step? I remember one time I had my one godbrother and he had a lot of problems. And he was telling me all of his problems, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's got a lot of problems, you know. So I said, really, the only one who can help you is Gurudev. So this was like 11 o'clock at night, you know. So I said, look, I understand. This is way over my pay grade, you know. So I said, you just need Gurudev. Only Gurudev can help you. So just then, Maharaj walks out of his bhajan kutir and he sits down in his chair and he starts chanting. So I said, oh, go, go. And I pushed him over there. And then he's walking towards Maharaj. Maharaj is peacefully chanting. And all of a sudden Maharaj, and I was watching from a distance, I was like, this is going to be really fascinating, you know. really interesting how Gurudev deals with this guy, you know. Because I know he's coming with a boatload of problems, you know. And then Gurudev just said, he said, oh, so-and-so Das. Before he could say one word, Maharaj said, yes, so-and-so Das, you have many problems, right? But how many days are you going to be here? And he says, 8 days, Gurudev. And then Gurudev said to him, okay, every day you come to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class. And all of your questions and doubts, everything will be solved in the Bhagavatam class. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Bhagavatam is non-different from Kṛṣṇa. Then at the end, if there's any little thing that you just need some clarification, then you come and talk to me about it. All right? And he was like, okay. So the next day in the Bhagavatam class, Maharaj is like roaring like a lion, he's preaching. And then all of a sudden he just turns to that devotee and he says, that's the answer to your question. And the devotee's like how Maharaj knows like that, you know? And then afterward, you know, I went up to him because I was trying to help him. I said, so Gurudev answered your question? He said, I don't know how he does like this. I didn't even tell him any of my problem, and he just completely answered my question that nobody could answer before. That's Guru. Because Kṛṣṇa, he knows what is our question, he knows what is our fear, he knows what is our doubt. But if we're not asking Kṛṣṇa, he's not telling. You think when Arjuna wasn't surrendering that Kṛṣṇa didn't know what the problem was? But why didn't Kṛṣṇa preach to him? Because he wouldn't have listened. Once Arjuna was in serious trouble and realized it, and realized that his so-called solutions and arguments, Prabhupada says he's skillfully trying to avoid the surrender, Arjuna. Once he realized I can't solve it, and now I got a serious problem on my hands, that's when he surrendered to Kṛṣṇa. Then he said, let's stop the friendly talking. Now I need you to be my guru. And then the first thing Kṛṣṇa did was he chastised him. Yes, while you're speaking learned words, you're mourning for that which is not worthy of grief. So he chastised him, purified him. And then systematically, then he answered Arjuna's questions, destroyed all of his doubts. So that's why I said, just come every day, pray to Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa wants to help you. He wants to help all of us. He's our well-wishing friend. He's seed-giving father. He knows what is our problem. He knows what is our challenge. He knows what is our fear. He knows what is our doubt. Kṛṣṇa can solve all of that if we ask him, if we have faith in him, and we're attentive to hear and perfectly anxious to hear the answer, and we're prepared to try our best to understand it and to follow it, to execute it. Then Kṛṣṇa said, then step by step I'll solve everything for you. By my grace, all the obstacles, all the problems, all the inauspiciousness which is coming because of these simple reactions, I'll destroy all of that. Nobody can do like that. Yeah.
Soul and Paramatma combined together in a one package format, or they're separate?
Eternally separate personalities. So Kṛṣṇa is the supreme eternal person, right? We're also, the soul is also eternally, a spirit soul is a person. But we are Kṛṣṇa Das. Kṛṣṇa is Supreme Lord and Master, we are Das, eternally. So the super soul it says that there's like two birds on the branch of the tree, right? One is super soul, one is Kṛṣṇa, and other is Atma, is the soul. So when the Atma turns his face towards Paramatma, then he'll instruct you. So turning the face means we're respecting his position, Krishna's position, and we are prepared to try to understand what he wants us to do. Then he'll instruct us. Then he'll tell you step by step how to do what to do. Krishna says, if you come in a mood of devotion, and you're not envious of me, and you're accepting your position that you're my servant, then I'll give you intelligence how to do it, how to come to me. Krishna wants to give us the intelligence. We're just not following the system. We're trying to reinvent, recreate, manufacture, concoct. Right? Krishna's perfect system of perfect person doesn't require any concoction, manufacturing, speculation, imagination, scientific research work. It's already been figured out. Only we have to understand it, put faith in it, and follow it to the best of our ability. And Krishna is the witness, that Paramatma is witness, and the judge. Is this soul looking for me, or wants to run away from me? Does he want to remember me and know me? Really? Or is he crooked and just skillfully avoiding the fight? So we cannot cheat Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa knows perfectly well. So we have to be convinced, and we have to convince Kṛṣṇa. That is our test. If we are not convinced, we're not really sincere, really serious, then why Kṛṣṇa? You don't think Kṛṣṇa already knows that? So those who are perfectly anxious, want to surrender and serve, want to solve the problem and difficulty in our life because we're refusing up to this point to surrender and serve properly, then Kṛṣṇa says, I'll give you intelligence step by step how to do it. Inside and outside and to the Shastra. Then Kṛṣṇa says, everything knowable will become known. It's like having the best friend in school who happens to be the best student in the school or in the country or the world, right? It's a material example, but can you imagine if you have your best friend is like Einstein and you're trying to, you're trying to figure out algebra, right? So Kṛṣṇa is the source of all knowledge and intelligence. Our only thing is we have to learn how to inspire Kṛṣṇa to give us that intelligence and faith and understanding how to progress. We must meet the prerequisite. And if we can learn to desire and to meet the prerequisite, then Kṛṣṇa says, I'll give you intelligence how to do it. Thank you, Mataji. They were listening very nicely. Does it make sense?
During birth, Paramatma is there itself, or it comes afterwards. During the birth, the new entity when it is born.
See, all knowledge and intelligence and faith comes from Kṛṣṇa, and he's situated in the heart. Kṛṣṇa says, I am situated in everyone's heart, and from me comes knowledge, intelligence, and remembrance, right? So, without Kṛṣṇa, without sufficient faith in our ability to be sincere and serious enough that Kṛṣṇa will give us that intelligence and faith, how are you going to understand anything properly? right? So if you don't know how to trust Kṛṣna in your own heart with the ring of truth, then how are you going to analyze whether this person's your guru or not? Who's going to tell you that he's your guru? Well, when you hear the Shastra and you hear a presentation of the absolute truth, who's going to tell you that you should accept that as absolutely true? Only Kṛṣna. So truth has to be confirmed, like 3 legs in the table, right? Has to be confirmed inside, outside through the spiritual master, and in the Shastra. So if all of those line up perfectly well, then you can understand and accept it as absolute truth. And if any one of those things is not, where Kṛṣna is not revealing, that means for some reason Kṛṣna is not giving you the intelligence and faith to understand it properly. That means we're on mental platform and then we're thinking, we're accepting, rejecting. So whenever you see yourself accepting and then rejecting, accepting, rejecting, accepting, rejecting, that means mental platform. That means you're depending on, because the mind is chanchalam, the mind is flickering. It's not a stable platform, on soul platform. If Kṛṣna convinces you, he'll convince your soul. It has nothing to do with your mind, as Prabhupada was saying. Or your false ego, or your thoughts, or your feelings, or your emotion. That's all body platform. So if Kṛṣna wants to convince us, can he not convince us? Why is he not convincing us? Because we're not listening. False ego, material desire, material attachment, too much pride, over-reliance on our own so-called capability. That's our disqualification. So we have to become qualified. And to become qualified, we need Kṛṣna's mercy and the Guru's mercy, and Shastra's mercy. And if you take enough of that medicine and hear enough of absolute truth, inside, outside, through the Shastra, that will clear all of the material, diseased, contaminated consciousness. Then you have a clear path to be able to directly hear Kṛṣna, inside and outside, and through the Shastra. Right now it's muffled. It's like it's distorted. Like a white light goes through the crystal and it's coming out like different colors. So the false ego is creating a filter, a contaminated filter where the pure knowledge is coming, but it's running through imperfect, contaminated instrument. So that's why we're not finally understanding it on soul platform as crystal clear. Because there's still too much, bodily consciousness, bodily material contamination is there. So more medicine, more purification. If you don't do that work and you're just going to sit there trying to figure everything out, you're not helping yourself. You'll never come to a conclusion. You want conclusion, right?
Yeah.
So who's going to give you the conclusion? Kṛṣna. Are you asking Kṛṣna? Or are you trying to figure it out?
Or both.
Both means he's not asking Kṛṣna. It's like, okay, Kṛṣna, let's hear your opinion. And then Maya, like, what's your opinion? And then you're like, it's like you're the guy in the middle who has to decide which is actually true and which is actually more accurate. So the times that you're going towards Maya to understand it is when you're becoming disturbed and confused. The times that you're being simple and dependent on Krishna's intelligence and His mercy, the more purified and the more clear, the more crystal clear it will become. That's up to you, which process you're going to take to understand how to solve your problem. Krishna or Maya? Who will solve your problem?
Krishna.
He's saying from the lips only. Right?
Yeah.
So then why just keep going to Maya? Do you not think that it's Maya? Are you sure what is Krishna and what is Maya? Is that clear to you?
Not completely clear.
Not completely clear. So if it's not clear, that means you can't make a decision one way or the other, right?
Conclusive decision. Conclusive, yeah.
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 You can't. It's not conclusive.
Yeah.
So if you have major decisions you have to make in your life, and it's not conclusive, your process that you're going through is not conclusive, how will you get any peace?
No peace.
No peace. No peace, no happiness. So that means your way of going about it is bringing you no peace and no happiness. So maybe you need a different process. Maybe you need a different plan. What do you have to lose? You can always go back to no peace and no happiness. Nobody will stop you. We're not locking the doors. You didn't lock the doors yet, right? Okay. You still have a chance to get out of there. Right? So are you happy with your results? It's not crystal clear, you said. Don't you want a crystal clear intelligence and understanding?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
But are you perfectly anxious to get a crystal clear instruction from Krishna?
Yes.
That's the question. That's what Krishna is waiting for. And how do you know that? Is because you don't have a crystal clear answer. That means Krishna is not making it brutally clear and obvious for you. Because you're not trusting Him. You're not depending on Him. Therefore you cannot hear Him. Then you're speculating, groping in the dark, acting as unguru. So Maya is your guru. Not Krishna. So is it fun surrendering and serving and hearing from Maya? Fun, fun, fun? Satisfied with the results? Maybe not. So you gotta give it up. It's like a drug addict, you know? They're taking the drugs, they're like, these drugs are killing me. And you're like, well, why don't you just give it up? So I can't. This drug is more important to me than even my own wife or my children. I cannot change myself because of this addiction. Then that means no hope. Right? That means condemn. So if we're in a condemned position, what does the future look like? Bright, rosy?
Scary.
Scared? Do you like the feeling of being scared? Is it like tasty? Yeah, serve me more of that scared, man. I love that feeling. Serve me up. Scared, anxiety. I love these emotions. I can't sleep. I'm not happy, but I'm just used to it. I'm just managing. All right, so you have to decide. All Kṛṣna devotee and Shastra can do is say, this is what it is. Just like when Kṛṣna preached to Arjuna, he said, look, this is the truth. Now you decide, what are you going to do? First he said, did you hear everything? With an attentive mind. Now you decide, what are you going to do? Because spiritual life you cannot force. Only you can try to influence them from Krishna's perspective for our own benefit, spiritually. That's all we can really expect. So everyone, thank you very much for your kind attention. I appreciate that. I hope that helped you. It helped me a little bit. We get a lot of work to do. And just try to come every day and chip away, shovel away at the Himalayan mountains of the thick layers